Hi everyone, I'm Brad Utterstrom. My friends call me Bradu sometimes. And today I will be drawing my wife as a zombie, but the primary reason for today's video is I want to announce and give some details on the Kickstarter that I am launching. So, here's the quick rundown. And then I'll go into more detail while I'm drawing. I'm going to do we're going to call it Drawing Dead Zombie Poker Sketch Card Deck. Basically, I'm going to do a playable 54 card poker deck comprised of sketch cards that I draw of you, the people who are going to back me on this. When you back me for a certain amount, you will have your image turned. I will use your image as one of the playing card decks, or one of the cards in the deck. So that's why I'm showing this first. One of the ideas that spawned this for me a long time ago was when I first did sketch cards for Cryptozoic's Walking Dead set, and I had to draw zombies, but I couldn't draw zombies directly from the show because they didn't have the likeness rights to the actors who played the zombies in the show, just the main actors. So I had my friends and myself and family and loved ones and things like that pose as zombies for me. That's what you're looking at here. So for instance, this one down here is a self-portrait, right? That's me. Took a photo of myself, or my wife probably took it, in this little zombie pose, added some zombie details, and there I am as a zombie on a Walking Dead sketch card. This actually has nothing to do with Walking Dead or anything other than that it's zombies, and this is the first time that I drew zombies like this on sketch cards, and what, like I said, kind of gave me the idea. I thought people might really think it's cool to be a zombie and then take it the next step in a poker deck. So that's why I'm doing this, and I wanted to show these first so that you can really get a feel for how a good photograph makes it so that I can maintain a good likeness while still getting the good gory zombie details in there. So take note of that, and then I'll get to drawing and talk a lot more about this. I had half a mind to. I wonder if I should change my camera angle. It's a little further than I usually have it from where I draw. But I wanted to be able to show those images first, so I had to have the camera a little further away. I'm not going to try and adjust it in the middle of this video. Let's see. I'm going to need an eraser. Well, hopefully not. But probably. Sorry, I'm a little sniffly today, too. I got a little bit of sickness going on or something. This is my wife. I already drew her. She was one of the images I just showed. But I wanted something here that I could clearly do a video of, to show exactly what the process would be like when I do this for the set, when I draw, the potential backers who want to be a part of this poker deck. This is how it'll go. You'll send me a photograph. Excuse me. Similar to this, where you're in, kind of a zombie pose or whatever. You can't just send me a photograph of you smiling, or I'm going to have to change it so much that I'll lose more of the likeness than I would like to. I could do it. I'd have to zombie it up more, but it's really important to get a good photograph to start from if you want the drawing to turn out totally awesome. So anyway, I almost did drawing of my son today for this video, who's only 4 months old. I thought that would be really cool, but I also thought it was a little bit riskier, I guess is the way I would put it, to do a baby zombie and make it gory but still cute. And also, it's not a photo I have printed up, it's just on my phone, but I just looked. I will do it because I just looked, and the last photo I took of it was perfect. You know, babies make zombie faces all the time without meaning to, because they're kind of half smiling but their mouth is wide open and all that. So let's see. How can I go about really getting into the details of what I want this Kickstarter to do and how I'm going to do it and everything, and still concentrate enough to do a good drawing? Let's stop for a second and just give you the quick rundown. So, here's the idea. You could back me at $1, and I'll say thank you for backing me. I will have anything from $1 up to probably around $100, I think. I think my goal... I started my Kickstarter page yesterday. Let's start with that. So it's not completed, but I got a good amount done. I put a couple hours in late night trying to iron out some of the details of how I'm going to do it, and I've been researching, especially Jake Parker's videos that suggest how to do a good Kickstarter campaign. I maybe should have done the initial sketch for this first, but I really kind of wanted to do the whole thing on camera and show, so I could show what it's going to be like when I do this for you guys. So anyway, I think I'll have $1 will be the starting amount you can pledge. Then I'll probably have one around $5 that will get you some sample cards from the deck. But you wouldn't get the complete deck, and you wouldn't have your image in the deck. And then I'll have probably at around $15, including shipping in the U.S., will be the poker deck. That would get you a complete poker deck. And then you would also have an option, probably an option to add on additional decks for cheaper. The first one being, like $15 for one, $25 for two. I'm throwing out approximate numbers here. It'll be close to this. And then it'll probably be around $75 for getting your image into the poker deck. Now, what that would get you then is not only the deck with your image in it, but also the original of your zombie, like I'm drawing here. So, for instance, if my wife paid me $75, she would get this original drawing when I'm done with it, and I would use the drawing to represent one of the cards in the deck, like the 7 of clubs. Let's make her the Queen of Hearts. She'll be the Queen of Hearts. So, theoretically, I could have up to 54 cards in this deck. There will be 54, but what I mean is I could have 54 customers. And if I'm a little bit shy of that, I still will be able to do this, and I'll just have to... I could meet my goal and still be short of 54, and I'll just draw the extras. Probably draw like this myself or my family members or whatever. So, I'm really excited about this, guys. This has been on my mind for a long time, and I've just been waiting for the right time, basically, is what's going on, and the time is right, so I'm doing it. I'm looking to get, I think that my goal is going to be around $3,000. I initially had thought about $4,000, but for $3,000 I could do it and still have it fund even if all 54 didn't get bought up. Whereas if I say $4,000, I almost need all of the spots to fill before the Kickstarter ends. Being my first Kickstarter, I want this to be successful. But I just thought, how friggin' cool would people think it is to not only see themselves as a zombie, but be in a poker deck. Have that image be in a poker deck. Get a poker deck that they can play and have all these awesome zombie images in it. I think something like this would make a great gift. The trick then is getting a good photograph to work from, but that's another story. A good kind of like family or couples idea. Now I'm only going to do one person per card, but you could do 2 spots. You could buy 2 spots and get, one of you and one of your wife or whoever. And I'm open to doing kids too. Don't think I'm going to do pets or celebrities or anything other than just basically regular old people. That sounds bad, but I think you know what I mean. No pets, no animals, no celebrities. Face, more or less a close-up on the face, but I'm also open to some ideas here. You guys can be creative on this too. Like, if you want to be a zombie, firefighter, put on a firefighter helmet and grab an axe or something like that and have it, not sticking out of your neck, but you know what I mean, pose it so that it's close to your neck, or I can figure out how to add in some of those details. But what I'm saying is you can contribute to making it the way you want it. If you just send me a photo like this, I will draw you, try and make it look like you, and then add in some nice gory details. This is the part where it's really hard for me to talk and draw, because getting the initial sketch laid out accurately is the most important thing to get a good likeness, and that's hard to do while drawing. Once I get to where I'm using markers, it'll be a little easier for me to work and talk and keep my thoughts organized as well. I chose this photo because it's got good dramatic lighting too. See, like this shadow under her nose is a real strong shadow, and she's got some pretty good areas under her eyes. And it's kind of nice. Drawing people as zombies can be somewhat forgiving because it doesn't have to look pretty. Like a pretty girl isn't necessarily going to look so pretty with blood and scabs all over her face, but it's so much fun. Let's see. Somehow I got one of the triangle here. It's coming in, I think. Goes up to there. I like to draw upside down a little bit to get a fresh look. I still there's something up with that eye. I could also, I can just completely have that eyeball fall out or something. It'll be a lot of fun for me to get creative with how I want to put these gory details in. Let's just get to work. I think I'm going to skip the outlining phase that I usually would do with multi-liners and go straight to markers. Today I'm going to do this drawing black and white with only some reds in there for the zombie aspects, the blood and stuff. And that'll be one of the tiers. I think, like I said, this number isn't exact necessarily, but the number I have in my head right now is $75 would get you a black and white marker drawing with red accents for the gore. And, oh, I got the wrong. With red accents for the gore, and that would be on a card 2 through 10. So the 2 of clubs, 3 of clubs, up through the 10 of each of the suits. So there would be 36 of those spots available. And then at the $100 level or thereabouts, you'd get one of the face cards, aces, or jokers. So there would be 18 of those spots. And those would be full color like the ones I showed earlier. Hang on, let me grab my markers. So that's going to be the general gist of the breakdown of the tiers. And I'm floating around some other ideas on what are they called? Add-ons and stretch goals and things like that. Like possibly a mini deck. That would be probably more like a stretch goal if I obliterate my original goal and get up to say 5,000 instead of 3,000 or whatever. Then I would add mini decks into the equation as well. That's something I can get printed up, I think, relatively easily if I have the, since the artwork will all already be done. And it would be I think it would be a cool add-on. Another one I'm considering is a sticker, posters. I also have an idea to do where you could add on extra versions of the card that you are featured on or have paid for. So, for instance, would be like you get the original and a deck and an additional 5, I'm going to say probably 5 cards of the one with your image. That way you'd have some to hand out to friends and family and keep and whatever. I'd probably sign one of them if that's what you wanted. I thought that would be cool. I don't want to add too many of those because every time I do that, I've got to break up a deck, right? So in order to do that, I'd have to break up 5 decks, and then everybody who ordered it, I could take those 5 out, and then for all of the leftovers that weren't ordered like that, I could split those. I could use those as the ones for the people who pay the $5 or $10 or whatever to get a sample pack of a handful of cards from the set, from the deck. So that's a little bit about how my breakdown is going to be for the different tiers. But the basics will be the $75 or $100 level for getting an original and actually getting your image in the deck. And the $15 roughly for getting a complete deck, even if you're not in the deck and just want the cool zombie poker cards. And like I said, every image will be an actual sketch card like this. So the original size of the drawings will be this size that I'm drawing right now. Most of you, anybody who's on my YouTube and watches my videos and things like that already knows about sketch cards, but not everybody who is going to be interested in this knows about sketch cards. So a sketch card is a standard baseball card sized original artwork, 2.5 by 3.5 inches, just like this. And that's also the size of a poker card. So the originals will be equal to the poker card size. So here's, I might just show this actually until I'm done drawing. Let's see. These are going to be nice. I'm going to have a lot of fun with experimenting with it, but it's something I've done a number of for the Walking Dead sets and a handful of commissions where people wanted me to draw them as a zombie or whatever. But it's also something I feel like I could really keep going with and explore more and get better at and get more creative with, especially. For this one here, I'm going to try and do it pretty standard and straightforward, just because I'm more concerned with with getting my point across here and how excited I am for this to run a Kickstarter. Like I said, I've been watching Jake Parker's videos. He's got a great video series on tips of how to run a Kickstarter and get it funded and be successful and all that. And so I'm taking notes. I want to do the best I can with this. The backs of the cards are going to be, let's show it really quick. This is my little mock-up. Each one of these, so this is like the card back. The 4 aces will be in the corners, so the 4 aces that are in the deck, I'll have the image really small in the corners. So the back will make a neat design, like a poker, the back of a poker deck usually has some kind of neat design. And it will be comprised of the images in the set. So I kind of like that idea for the card back. And that's an added bonus to backing at that top level of getting, a face card or ace in the deck or joker. There'll be 2 jokers. It's too bad just the printing company that I'm going through, it doesn't look like I can add an extra card for like a rules card or thank you, and to put like credits on it or whatever, but that's okay. I'll deal with what I have got to work with here. And I've used this company before for my business card sketch cards, and I'm really happy with the quality that I've got from them, so I'm not too worried about that being an issue. And it's a poker deck company, even though I've used them not for poker cards, but for business cards that look like this, that are poker card size and style, without the poker things. But this is a good example. So this isn't a zombie, but it's pro wrestler Blizzard Brody. He's zombie-ish enough looking, and just imagine that the poker numbers are there, and that's kind of how I'll do it. And I'll probably try and do a consistent background similar to this Dexter. That's my idea for now, with just a couple with some red blood dripping in the background or something. I want something that's going to have a zombie feel to it, but not be distracting or whatever, and just kind of fit the theme and not detract from the fact that it's a poker card. I don't want things to cover up the numbers in the corner, so I'll either use a card design that doesn't go all the way to the corner, or I'll make sure that the drawings don't go all the way to the corner. So like this one, I've already kind of screwed it up because I've got her hair here. So I would leave these areas blank, or I don't know, I can probably Photoshop a thing so that I can get it on the card with the card number showing. That's not going to be a huge problem. Like I said, this is a mock-up. There's a chance I would use this image in the deck, but it's mainly just so I can draw a zombie and show you guys what it looked like, how I would use your photo. And also, like I said, one of the real important parts of this is getting a high-quality photo. I can't stress that enough. If you send me a photo that already has you in the pose you want to be, looking like a zombie, looking mean, roaring, or maybe just kind of looking dead, that's going to be helpful, because then I can draw it very similar to the photo and keep that likeness very accurate and still add in some really good gnarly details. Whereas if you send me a photo that doesn't fit that, and I have to change a lot of the details and add a lot of things in, it's going to be a lot harder for me to maintain that likeness and make it look just like you. And for me, that's one of the real important parts. And I'll use an example here. I should probably show this, but I'm not going to because I don't have it at hand right now. But I don't want to, I'm going to tell this story, but I don't want to make this sound like a complaint, but it's also not what I want to do. It's what I want to avoid. When I went to Comic-Con last year, there was an artist who was doing, on-site $5, $10, I think it was $10 sketch cards. So he snapped a picture of me real quick, and I walked around at Comic-Con. And when I came back in an hour or whatever he had done, a drawing of me as a zombie. But his was very cartoonish, and it wasn't real accurate to the photo. It was awesome. I was super thrilled to have this. But it looked like me because, at the time I had a big beard and brown hair. And other than that, it was very, comic-y and cartoony. And, the zombie details were like my eyeball was actually falling out and tons of blood and scabs and this and that. And all of that is fine and great. But what I really want to do here is drawings like this and like the ones that I showed you earlier that really capture the likeness of the person and then add some realistic, gory details. So in order to help me achieve that, what I need from the backers are good, high-quality photos where I can clearly see the subject, where there's some cool lighting and shadows happening, especially with something like this. Like I said, I don't need to make a pretty girl pretty. I can get pretty rough with it and still have it look pretty awesome. Even this, I'm rushing big time and not concentrating as much on the drawing as I normally would. And it still has, even though I haven't zombified it at all, it still has a pretty fair likeness, and I can see it's headed in a direction I like. Now, when I do these for the actual poker deck and people are paying, I'm not gonna be trying to do it like this where I'm rushing and whatever. I'll be a lot more careful and particular with everything. But I still want this to turn out nice. So don't get me wrong here. I'm really hoping and planning that by the end of this drawing, it'll be on par with my normal work. Dang. Let's see, what have I missed that I need to actually talk about with the Kickstarter here? I'm considering a higher end thing actually where I do your drawing on camera like this, so if you were to buy into the top price spot and get a face card or a Joker or Ace, you could pay a little extra and I would actually film it and put it on my YouTube. That I thought would make a nice higher end tier. So we'll see. I'm just brainstorming on some of this stuff. The core of it is the originals and the decks, right? That's what I really want to focus on. And all the other stuff, whether or not I do stickers or mini decks, or there's also different types of decks I can do. Other sizes besides a mini. There's a plastic deck, but those are considerably more expensive, so I probably won't do those. But it's an idea. It's a brainstorming idea. A poster that would show the entire, every card in the deck. That's possible, and that would probably be more of a stretch goal type thing. But it also might make a good middle tier, because right now, as I have it set up, there's a pretty big jump from the buying one deck at around $15 to paying $75 to get a deck and have the original sketch card. I'd like to find a good mid-range there. And it might be that mid-range is as simple as pack of 3 decks or something along those lines. We'll see. Like I said, some of that's brainstorming. I would love to hear your thoughts on this, especially stuff like that, like where I'm, not just is this a good idea or not, but I'm pretty well convinced it's a good idea. Not necessarily saying I'm guaranteeing it to fund, but I don't know. It's something I've had in my mind for a long time and have been wanting to do, and like I said, just waiting for the timing to be right. I've only even mentioned this idea to a couple people, just because I wanted to kind of keep the whole thing as a surprise and actually do it before I talk about it. So here we are, and I'm doing it. It's going to be rad. Let's start to give her some blood. I could probably go all the way. Well, maybe we'll keep going. I was going to say I could probably go all the way with the grayscale drawing before I ever even add any blood. But I don't want to get too caught up in committing to the form that's here if I'm going to end up changing it and adding in like a drastic, let's get some, like her lips. So her lips I'm going to end up bloodying up. So I don't want to get, like I said, commit too hard to the form of her lips because they're going to be a lot different when I add in the gore aspects. And like I said, boy, that's going to be the fun part of this, right? Let's get a little. Her skin's a little too perfect at this point. Let's splotch it up a bit. That might help some things. I was thinking ways to get this out there. I'll probably go on some different forums and groups on Facebook and things like that, like the Walking Dead group would probably have some people interested in doing this, because I'll get probably some backers straight off of my Facebook followers right now that already follow me and are familiar with my artwork. But in order to do this and do it right and have it work, I'm gonna need it to branch beyond the people that already know me and are familiar with me, and have some other people jump in on it from somewhere else. So I'll have to think outside the box a little bit on that, and how to advertise it to really reach a wider audience. So let's see. I should have taken notes and had some things I needed to talk about here. I'm trying to decide if I need to build a website specifically for this or not. I've got a web space, right? I've got my own, like where all my art is already. So I think I've got that covered. I just may make a special page for this. Let's give her. I like to start out with a light pink and just kind of make her eyes bleed. Because it doesn't commit too much to what's going where, and I can just kind of see where it goes from there. So I've got the Kickstarter page started and honestly almost completed. The things I really need are a couple images, so I'll have to do mock-ups. I'll probably use some of the ones I showed at the beginning of this video and crop to just the picture part and not the part that says Walking Dead at the bottom, because that's not relevant to this. But in just Photoshop that onto a card. Ooh, you know what? Let's give her red eyes. I want some consistency with this, but like I don't necessarily need a certain style of zombie. Like for instance, she's got very alive eyes and red eyes, but that doesn't mean I will make every card in the set have red eyes or whatever. I'll have some have the dead eyes. I'll be pretty open. I'll try and be pretty open to what people suggest and want to see for their own. You know, like I said, adding in props. I'll leave that up to the backers, but also if the backer doesn't have a specific idea and says, "Hey, do what you want," like that's great too. I can kind of do my own thing on some of it. Let's see, let's go. I think I'm just going to leave her lips pretty much normal the way that they are. So let's do the gray part of that before I get into too much red there. Some of these I plan to like really mangle and distort, and others I plan to stay pretty true to the photo. And what I mean by that is, so like this one, see how I just drew her lip pretty accurate, and I'll just have blood dropping down over the lip to make it pretty cool detail there. But for some of them, I'll probably just tear the whole jaw off, you know what I mean, and leave this big gaping hole and have that one extra gory. I'm really excited to see how this goes. I think what I'll do also is I'll post this video on my regular YouTube, and this will be kind of like my first announcement of it, because like I said, other than mentioning to a couple people, close friends in passing, that, oh hey, I'm planning to do this at some point, I really haven't mentioned this to anybody. So this will be kind of my announcement on my Facebook and YouTube page that this is what I'm doing. But then I'll probably do a time-lapse video and voiceover to this video where I try and wrap it up into, 3 or 5 minutes, so that could be my actual Kickstarter video, because other than the video and a couple photos, my Kickstarter page is pretty much ready to go up. My goal is to have it, to have the Kickstarter actually launched at some point next week. I don't know exactly when. It's Friday now. I know it takes a few days for it to be like reviewed so that it can get, approved and processed and put up. So if I get it, posted and sent for approval on Monday or Tuesday, then it'll be up and running by the end of next week. And I would like to get it, like I said, as soon as possible. As soon as I iron out some of the details. It's pretty tough. I think one of the keys on, just from what I've heard and listened to in videos on Kickstarters, is doing a nice job and running an organized Kickstarter and covering all your bases first, right? So I'm trying to do that. I'm trying not to just throw this together and throw it out there. And yet it's a little different from anything I've ever done. Doing a larger project on my own like this. But at the same time, it's not unlike the card work I've done for official sets. So again, the sketch card people already know what I'm talking about here, but if you're watching this because you're interested in the project, you don't know a darn thing about sketch cards. I've worked for Topps and Cryptozoic and many sketch card companies doing, 50 or 100 sketch cards for a trading card set within a month or two deadline. So I know that I can do that. I've never been late on a deadline for cards, so I know that I can make this work. I can get 54 cards done in a timely manner of a month or two, and get this sucker sent off and printed up and shipped out if it funds. So I'm ready to do this, and I'm also in a good situation just in my life right now. At this very moment, I don't have an official sketch card set I'm working on. It's the first, I think it's the first time, or if not the first, very close to it, in almost 3 years that I've been in that situation where I do not have another card set deadline that I'm working on right now at this point. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to launch this sucker right now. I just finished up a set a week ago or so and sent them off. And so, boom, I want to have this. I've been brainstorming the ideas for it because I want to have this ready to launch now so that I can be, it's going to be a 30-day campaign. And I'm hoping that at the end of that 30 days, I can get right to drawing. And so I'll have the next month or so will be me getting more organized with the Kickstarter and getting more information out there and providing updates and that sort of thing. And then also doing the artwork I will do in the meantime will be like commissions and artist proofs and things like that. So I've got plenty to keep me busy, but the timing is certainly right for this. And I also, for those of you who don't know so much about my personal life, I'm also on a leave of absence, staying home with my son. So I basically am doing this right now full time, doing artwork full time. I mean, let's be serious, taking care of a kiddo is a full time job too. Like I said, he's 4 months old, so it's not like he doesn't keep me busy. But I also get a lot of time to draw when my wife's home and when he's napping and things like that. So this is gonna, I'll have the time to do this. I've got everything I need. I've got the experience and skills to make this work. And over the course of the last couple of years, I've had many people say to me, oh, you should make a poker set. Usually when they see my business cards, because my business cards are poker cards, and they'll recognize that and go, these remind me of poker cards. They aren't poker cards because they don't have a suit on it, but they are poker cards because they're printed by a poker company on the same cardstock and everything as a poker card. So that's why they're saying that. Makes all the sense in the world, right? But the bottom line then is I've been banking those comments in the back of my head, and eventually it led to my idea that I should make a poker deck. I should make a zombie poker deck out of sketch cards. Because the other thing is, what do I have? So I do a lot of original artwork, but my artwork usually is drawing for sketch card companies, doing cards directly from Walking Dead or The Hobbit or athletes, UFC fighters, or something that it would be a lot harder to run a Kickstarter and actually try and produce a product for, with Star Wars images or whatever. Now, zombies are pretty much fair game, and drawing people as zombies, hey, that's something that I can do and I have every right to do, and it's right in my wheelhouse, and it's fun, and it's interesting, and it's a unique idea. I'm not saying I'm the first person to do a poker deck on Kickstarter. I'm not. I'm not saying I'm the first person to do a zombie poker deck or anything like that, but I do think that it's something that people could really get into, having the opportunity to have their own image, their own zombie version in a poker deck. I just think it's something that could really go somewhere. And I don't remember if I mentioned this on the video yet or not, on this video yet or not, but theoretically, if this got popular, I could do a second set and a third set, and however many I want or need to do. That's not an issue. So, like on the Kickstarter page, one of the things is that it asks you what are the risks of this. What are the risks, right? Well, one of the risks is that my 54 spots sell out quick. That's possible. I'm not counting on it, but it is possible. What would happen if it sells out really quick like that? Well, I would just... I grabbed a blue, I think, because I was considering maybe blue for some really dark areas. Let's go for it. Scab 2. Oh man, totally just lost my train of thought. It's the last thing I said that I could do another deck. Yeah, I mean, I could do a second and third deck, no problem. It would take another couple months or whatever, but if this took off, I'd just keep making more decks, and that's no problem. No problem at all. And honestly, I think it'd be really fun to do this for a while. If it's a one and done, that's fine too. The only thing that would disappoint me really is if this doesn't even fund. But even if it doesn't, it's not a total loss. I could have it not fun, and I could still make it work and draw more zombies myself, you know, and try and complete the deck. But obviously my goal here is to fund it through Kickstarter and do it risk-free and all that jazz. That makes sense. My wife's a lot prettier than I'm making her here. I hope you guys realize that. She knows I'm doing this drawing today. She doesn't know that I was going to draw her. In fact, I didn't know I was going to draw her until I just started the video, because I just wanted something to draw that was already in front of me. I already had this printed out from a long time ago that I was going to work on it, so let's use a dark one and draw her neck a little more or something. I don't want to overdo the red on this particular one. But like I said, some of them I plan on really, let's go darker, going the extra mile and like tearing off the whole jaw, or having a giant gaping hole in the neck or something like that. Just cut into it. See, that's just cut into her jawline a little more than I meant to. That's okay. there's a lot of different ways you can do this. I've done the one I did of her before. Well, I guess in a way it's similar to this, but it's got really pretty elements and then a couple gory elements too. But there's ways to do a pretty, and pretty is not the only word I'm looking for here. I'm looking for another word. Like a nice kind of smooth zombie with just a couple gory details. And then there's things you can do where you make the all of the skin like completely scabbed over, and I don't know. There's just a lot of ways I can do it. And that's one of the things I'm looking forward to here. I'm almost thinking I'm getting close to as much red as I want to use. And then I just want to use grays to give a little more form to. And then adding in the highlights is always a fun part too. So as I'm getting kind of close to finishing here, I'm hoping that some of you watching this are thinking, man, wouldn't it be cool to be in this poker deck? Like I said, until I actually launch the Kickstarter, I don't know for sure what my tiers are going to be, but it's going to be pretty darn close to $75 to get yourself in the deck with a deck of cards and the original. And then it can go up from there if you want full color and get a face card or an ace or whatever. Just need to look for a second and see what still needs to be done. She's got these awesome cheekbones that really show up in this lighting, but I didn't get too dramatic with that here. So a little bit more dramatic with that to capture it. So I hope you can also see here that I really still focused on capturing the likeness while still making her a pretty cool looking zombie. This definitely still looks like her and has some of her features. She's got a very distinct nose. And this lighting here really shows it too. And like I said, I'm open to babies. Babies would be fun. And a different type of challenge. Because I think to an extent I'd still want to keep a level of cuteness and also gore them up. And I think that people would have a lot of fun with that. I know that on the Walking Dead set in the trading cards, you can't draw babies in. I'm sure there's something in that, within Walking Dead that they can't do that. They did have that last episode have a little hint of a baby zombie. But I can do zombie babies. Why the heck not? So I think a lot of people would have fun with that. Oh, let's get these. Their teeth are too white, aren't they? And on that note, her lips should probably be darker too. So if you're enjoying this video, watching me draw, consider backing this project. Like I said, it's going to be launched in the next few days. Within the next week at least, I plan to have it launched, if not sooner. And like I said, I'll take as little as $1 can back me and at least, give me support. And I thoroughly appreciate that, because zombies are not everybody's thing, right? Some of you are probably watching this because you have watched my YouTube channel before and like some of my artwork, but really have no interest in zombies, and that's fine. I still thoroughly appreciate the $1 or $5 backing, which would get you a few samples and not cost an arm and a leg. And all the way up to getting your whole family zombie cards in the poker deck. How awesome would that be? I plan to I'm sort of thinking there's a realistic chance that this sucker funds, but I only fill up, 40 or 50 cards, and I have a few left over to fill up on my own. In which case, I'm looking forward to doing another zombie self-portrait, and one of my son, and maybe my wife, and maybe some friends or whatever, my brother. I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm okay with it not funding completely, or with it funding but not filling up all the spots, and I can still work with that, no problem. On the flip side, boy, would it be great if this sucker funds all the way and I actually can add on some stretch goals. I can't remember if I mentioned a poster. That's one of the things I haven't. I know about the printing of the actual poker deck. That's not going to be a problem. I know what it's going to cost. I'll break all that stuff down in a more organized future video. But for right now, I just want to get the idea out there and give a little hint into what's going on here. But I have not looked into a poster, but I think a poster that shows the entire deck on it would be a pretty awesome, probably stretch goal, but maybe not even a stretch goal, maybe just something you can get at the range of, I'm going to just guess here, $25 or so. That would add a nice little mid-range goal there. Or what was the other one I just had floated away from me? Stickers. Stickers is another one I could definitely see doing especially probably as a stretch goal. Let's say I made 5,000 or 4,000 instead of, if I ask for 3,000. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to ask for yet, but I think it's going to be 3,000 or so. And then, that would be a cool one where everybody could get a sticker or a couple stickers or something in addition to what they ordered. If that stretch goal is reached. A friend of mine, an artist friend of mine, Jeff Lafferty, just ran a successful Kickstarter. And that was it's a little bit of an eye-opener. I haven't talked to him much. I mean, I've listened to his videos about it, but I haven't talked to him about how he went about it, or if he has any tips. His funded, so good for him. It's an art book with a lot of his drawings and paintings over the last probably a couple years. And I supported that. It's one of, I have very little experience with Kickstarter, honestly. So I think I'm going to call that good. I never know. I always go back and add more details. Not always, but sometimes. I think that's pretty good. So imagine that as a poker card. And let's see. I already showed the other things I wanted to show, didn't I? I'll show this one more time so you can see that. So actually, here's my, this is the other side I did it for the actual set, and it's actually kind of a similar pose. But there's a lot of things you could do here. I made it look like my hand was up against the glass. It might be fun to actually have somebody take a photo in the, behind the shower glass or something, can do a blurred out drawing like that. These are all full color, so this is, they're a little more detailed and full color, so this is kind of what I would do on the face cards. Get creative, and I'll get creative too, and we'll have some fun with this. I hope you enjoyed watching. Let me do a quick mental check and see if there's anything I forgot to mention. Yeah. All right. I guess that's it. Thanks for watching, and like I said, I'll probably do a condensed version of this video and show the time lapse and do a voiceover to really get to the actual details. Anyway, Kickstarter coming. Drawing Dead Zombie Poker Sketch Cards.